Alright, we're starting with a new deck today. It's a kind of basic Lyra deck. I honestly have come to really love this deck. It's basically the deck I play when I can't really be bothered playing anything else. It's just a simple, easy deck that honestly plays itself a little bit, and it's chill altered gameplay. It's just Lyra good stuff using Fen Crowbar. Their ability makes it very easy to just play the game. You get a lot of value out of it, and has a lot of like reserve synergy. That's kind of all that's special about it. Other than that, it's just basically Lyra good stuff. For our starting hand, gonna get rid of the Spycraft since there's nothing to get rid of for the moment. Sandman is very good, but he kind of doesn't fit into the strategy I've got turn 1, which is just Lyra into, Chronicler into Croupier. Honestly, not a fantastic opening hand. I do like having a couple of these Spycrafts around, so getting rid of them turn 1 is kind of feels bad. I never love going first versus Sigismar, since you do have to basically fork yourself versus the Ordis Recruit. And Lyra's specifically bad versus them because you have a lot of zeros. I'm just going to put this here and hope that they play a landmark. It's not uncommon in Sigismar. One of my favorite cards in this deck is Anansi. I definitely expected this card to kind of be bad, but it just plays amazingly. Like, playing it from hand, that completely stopped my train of thought. I wouldn't have expected a no-play turn 1, but I'll take it. Makes me skip what they have in their hand. The only thing I could think of is maybe the Frog Prince. Since it has the same stats as the Lyra Chronicler, but it couldn't beat it, maybe they have that in their hand. I'll watch that and see if I get a lucky call with it. So this is what I mean when I say that the Fen Crowbar deck is just kind of my easy comfort deck, is that, you draw a card, you put a free card in mana, you get a free card later. Just very chill. You don't have to think about much. This turn is going to be interesting. I got really lucky with the Croupier because got the exact correct biomes for it. So can just slam that very easily and try and win on the right hand side again. Ooh, Cloth Cocoon. Cloth Cocoon's pretty good against Ordis in general. It's obviously quite bad at dealing with their tokens, but you can just snipe their big permanents out. Wait, they didn't play any mana. Are they just conceding? I wonder what's going on. I just had a bit of a chat with my opponent. Unfortunately, they forgot to put mana in their mana pool turn 1, that's really rough. Apparently they're going to keep playing, which, fair play to them. Good luck. So the one downside I have is that I'm not really avoiding overfilling my reserve this turn, and I don't really have an amazing choice. I think I'm okay with losing the Chronicler, so I'll just slam the Croupier to the right and call it a day. Really hoping here for a 4-5-6 so I don't put another card into my reserve. It's the biggest problem with this deck is that you risk losing a lot of reserve plays. But since you get so much value from your ability, it's not a big deal either way. Just happy to get rid of that. There's a world where I keep that one over some of the other two, but I definitely want to keep Cloth Cocoon just in case they try and get fancy with the Monolith. But and the Croupier's cost reduction is quite nice as well. It also stops their blue advance here. I do want to be trying to play to their hero side as much as possible to stop the free token, but it's just not really been a fantastic option before now. This is an interesting thing to see. So we have Kodama here, which allows me to anchor a 3-cost, which very notably Anansi's a 3-cost. So if I just slam this here, it gets a bunch of boosts because of the 3 reserves currently. And I can just anchor it with Kodama, and that's pretty good. I also have the Inkcaster or the Navigator for the right hand side. Well, Probably the Incaster giving them on grass, but depends what they play. Ooh, get rid of Kadama here. Ah, they must have the Monolith in hand, is my only thought process there. I would almost always get rid of the Kadama, because this is going to be kind of backbreaking this anchor. But yeah, if they have the Monolith, they have to get rid of that to have any chance. I'm just trying to think if I have a different play here, but I think I just want to put this here to try and stop them from advancing. Or at the very least, make them replay this Ordis Trooper. Again, another card that snuck up on me was the Ouroboros Inkcaster. I remember when the game was still being spoiled. I really enjoyed Lyra, but I couldn't get any success with them. I found them really hard to play. And then they spoiled, I'm pretty sure it was the Inkcaster and Anansi back-to-back. And I remember just being honestly kind of disappointed. Like, I was like, oh, these cards seem fine, whatever. But they've been some of my favorite cards. You know, Anansi gets massive out of nowhere. Inkcaster gives you so much value from just returning things to your hand. They're not exciting cards, but they're really powerful cards. And again, this entire archetype of Fen Crowbar has just been way more powerful than I thought it would be. Which is great, because who doesn't love having a little pumpkin head rockstar pet? Alright, thinking about this game a little bit. Surprisingly not that far ahead considering what the start of it was, but obviously this being anchored is quite good. The Croupier, like, really hard stops them on the right-hand side, since they're on that biome now, but it obviously doesn't advance me at all. Kadama's a good card in general. I'd love to get it to anchor my Anansi when I play it again. That doesn't give me much, that's a lot of Croupiers. My default thought here would just be to play one of the Croupiers and one of the Kadama. Depends what they play. Probably lead with Kadama, just because it's asleep, it doesn't really do much anywhere. Rare Ordis Trooper. Interesting. This here. I do have access to double cost reduction here, so I can play the Lyra Navigator if that matters. Doesn't really seem to be massively useful here. And most I can Stonewall and advance on the left-hand side. If they have a lot of water, it would stop them here, but I found Ordis is a very balanced deck in terms of elements. I don't see them favoring water. Honestly, I don't love the situation I'm in. I could just play the Incaster again. If I play the Croupier from hand, I get to roll the dice and I get to see another card. The problem is, I would risk very overfilling my reserve. But if I do get something playable, I could, like, even up to 4 cost, I could play it. 2 cost, I should say. Let's see, I'm willing to roll the dice. Literally. I get a draw, that's pretty nice. I guess I can play this for 3 less. Because I can discard one of these and then discard the other one to its effect. This is another interesting rare inclusion. You don't see it very often. I quite like the idea of it. The idea that basically when you play it, it's free if you're playing a permanent. Again, makes me think that they have a monolith in hand, which this deals with, so that's nice. There isn't to do anything here, might as well pass. Made them commit a lot of resources to securing the right-hand side, which I'm happy with. I don't love the Croupier from Reserve. It's a 4-mana 5/5. That's honestly a big reason why I make it the rare version, so it's a 5/5. But it's still not fantastic. having this 2/2/2 is kind of a nice like ace in the hole, but you know what? Actually, I've talked myself out of it. Considering I have another croupier in hand, I might as well keep the different thing down here. Ooh, Sandman. I also love this card. It just very good at winning tempo. Just puts something to sleep and has pretty decent stats for its cost. I think it joins the ranks of Anansi and Incaster, which they aren't exciting. Like they're like decently statted things with a bit of utility, but honestly, it just kind of all comes together to be bigger than the sum of its parts. I think the thing that has struck me the most is how far Sigismar has fallen from grace. In the original version, when people were only playing with the starter decks, Sigismar was everywhere. He was completely the menace. But these days, he doesn't see that much play. Although I'm unsure whether that's just because he isn't the like exciting new hotness, because I still think it's quite good. If I had to guess his turn, it would be Foundry Engineer into Monolith. So I want to keep enough mana to be able to paint prison the Monolith. Probably involves just putting a Nancy on the right hand side here. Unfortunately, I don't get to keep I don't get to Kodama lock it in place, but I'm more than happy spending that resource. One thing I enjoy about Anansi is that it's 3 from hand, 2 from reserve, and that's because more often than not, playing it from reserve will give it 1 less boost. So it's kind of like, even though it costs 1 less, it's actually smaller as well. So yep, as I expected, they played the Founder Engineer. So I'm definitely expecting a Monolith here. They can also Monolith into Orders Trooper, so that's a lot of stats. I also want to try and like obviously want to like see them play that so I can respond. So I need to play the Inkcaster or the Navigator. Navigator's really good here since we're both on blue, so let's pass it back to them with the Navigator. Still paint prison by getting rid of one of these. Hey, Monolith, called it. Now let's honestly, I feel bad considering the misclick at the start. Like this is gonna really just basically break their back, but I can't afford to let it just sit there. The real question is what do I get rid of? And it's probably the Inkcaster. Reason being is that we're getting down to the last couple turns here, so sleep becomes very powerful. And we'll send that to the top of that deck. It's so awful to have something sent to the top of your deck, because you just know you're drawing it again. And especially something like Monolith, like they can't afford to play it anymore. They just have lost too much tempo. So that card is just a dead draw now. Sure, they can put it into the mana, and they most definitely will, but it's still, like, you only get to draw 1 card next turn, essentially. Looking at the elements we're on, I think I'm more than happy to get rid of the Lyra Navigator. There is an argument to be made, since I only need to win anywhere once to win the game, keeping the highest status important. But since I'm placing it on the right-hand side, it means I can kind of fork the stats. Again, not too important against Ordus, but it's probably fine. So this gives me Anchored, if it matters. Alright, what do I have going for me this turn? So I want to play as long as possible so I can Twinkle Twinkle the best thing. So I want to start with Kodama for 2 mana. Reserve 2 mana for this, so that's 4 mana. Probably play this, so 5 mana. And then Sandman as well, so 6, 7, 8 mana. And that allows me to sleep 2 things, which is just incredibly powerful. Thinking through that, maybe I want to play Kodama on the... I have Sandman later. I was going to say maybe I want to play Kodama on the left-hand side. That way I can play Ouroboros Trickster on the right-hand side, And even if I roll a 1, 2, or 3 and get 1 boost, I'm not contested by the recruit. But honestly, because I have the Sandman later, I can just play that to the left-hand side and beat the recruit. My only fear here is a charge play. Like, maybe it's worth just going really hard on the right-hand side to play around charge. We'll play to the right-hand side for now and see what they play. Chances are I'll have more plays this turn than them, because I have 4 total cards to play. They do have the Orders Trooper. I really like the Orders Trooper as like a 1-mana pass button, essentially. But it's not great stats. I say playing Ouroboros Trickster for basically the same thing. Yeah, the lack of water on this side is really rough for them. I'm just gonna play the Trickster for now. Give them a little bit more time to play out. Hey, 2 boosts. I'm winning on water anyway, so it's not particularly relevant. And with 2 mana left, I don't think they're gonna come back from that, unfortunately. 1 mana, yep. I'll put it to sleep, I guess. Ooh, those 2 buttons are close to one another. To sleep the Trooper, since it has the highest water. Yeah, they end. I'll pass as well. GG. So unfortunate that they got a rough start by a misclick. I'll play it regardless. Hey, a new trophy. So that's the idea behind the deck. Basically, you just kind of AFK play things from your reserve and have a good time. It's one of the most chill decks that I've got, and I really enjoy playing it when I just want to play a bit of Elted and not pay too much attention. Anyway, that's me, and I hope you have a good day.